Hey traders, what's going on? Welcome back to another video. I know it's been a while since you actually see my face, but here we are. We're in a video. As you can tell by the title, we're going to try to talk about the pips, how pips work, the breakdown, and maybe I can make this video really quick. So I'm going to choose a pair here just to write things on and be able to show some examples from. I really want to make sure the pip idea is very clear, and I'll show you how I do my math to calculate pips. Like if I'm not using the MT4, like I just want to be able to calculate it in my head or something. So I'm going to go over to the most basic pair ever, Euro USD, and we're going to see what's going on. I'm going to just clear off everything here. Not sure what drawings we have on. So it doesn't matter what indicators I actually have on the screen right now. We're talking about pips, not any analysis, not any anything like that. So I'm going to use, I guess you can call this the long position tool, and I'm just going to place this, let's say right here, just for a little tip, a little advantage. And let's make this 100 pips. I know that this is 100 pips when this says 1000, okay? And the reason why I know that's 100, sorry, wrong time frame. If I go to a higher time frame, the pip countage will be better. I'll get more distance. So let me just put in, let's say, a short tool. Let's put the short tool right here. Okay, so here we can see 57.6. This here indicates 57.6 pips. The reason why I say points, because points and pips are different. If you're on the MT4, the MT4 counts in points, not pips. So anytime that you see it goes up 100 points, 100 points is 10 pips. I'm gonna write this down so we can get some clear indications. Let me make this 100. It would be more technical if I just go here and I'll go into inputs and I'll make this, we don't got to worry about any of those. The ticks, so the profit level, the ticks, we need to put 1,000 if we wanted to indicate 100 pips. So I explained this in the other videos where I touched on the pips a little different. Yeah, so there are micro pips and then you have what are actual pips. Micro pips, not every broker, not every place that you see a price will account for the micro pips, or sometimes they won't even, sometimes like if you Google the exchange rate of a currency pair and it shows you like a bank's price, normally they might just cover the second two digits, so the cents, maybe 28 cents, $1.28 or $1.32, whatever the US Canadian rate is, and then you won't get the other pair. So like down here, let's just imagine for USD CAD it's just $1.33, and then that's where they hold it. They won't do the 0.16 after. So here we can see, if we just look at this real quick. So here we have, we can call this 10,000 pips, or yeah, 10,000 pips. This digit here is 1,000 pips. This digit here is 100 pips. This digit here is 10 pips. This digit here is 1. And this one up here, the little exponent, I believe we call that, is a micro pip. Okay, so I'm going to just go through and type this. So 1,000 here for the profit level. And let's make the stop loss half of the take profit, 50 at 50 pips. 500 ticks, 500 points is 50 pips. So I'm going to go through, hit OK. And we can see this is what we're looking like. Let me just pull this in here. And this should say risk 1 to gain 2, right? Because we're risking 50 to gain 100. So I'm gonna just type some things so we can make sure that we have a clear demonstration of the pips and everything just like that. Let's go in, open up our drawing panel. And let's also go to our text tool. I wanna make this text tool my favorite. And let's get started. So very important thing to remember when we're looking at pips. Let me write pips. Pips equals points in, I don't know if it's called, in percentage. Okay, so very important, points and pips are different. Normally traders talk about pips, they don't really talk about points. Points really refer to the MT4. Points refer to, you know, if you're really talking with your broker or anything, they're going to look at it in points, not pips. So that's a very clear understanding that we need to have. And let's just do number 1, where I can do, let's say the price is 0.000, let's add a 1. So we have 0.0000 4 zeros after the point. The next one is definitely a micro pip. Micro pip. Not everybody accounts for this. So you may have a different broker that's only going to cover the next 4 digits. It doesn't really matter. I never really talk about the micro pip that much. I don't go into too much explanation about the micro pip because it's not everybody includes it, and it's not something that I personally focus on. And I think if I'm not focusing on it, everybody else doesn't need to per se focus on these things as well. So there we have the micro pip. Number 2, we have, let's do 0.0001, and this is going to be 1 pip. So this is where we actually start counting. This is where we actually start really earning money, the accumulated of 1 pip. Next we have number 3, let's go 0.0010. So we can understand that this is 10 pips. Micro pip, 1 micro pip, let's just write that, 1 micro pip. And then this also equals 1 point, okay? This also equals 10 points on the MT4. Let me go like this and put an MT4. I just want to make sure that these things are really clear. Sometimes some of you guys ask me some questions about pips, about the MT4 and how all those pips relate, because sometimes you might see me enter a 300 pip stop loss, and sometimes you might see me enter a 30 pip stop loss and then end up typing 300. And I'm showing you basically what's my reasoning for doing things like this, because the pip count and the price are different. So here we can see 10 pips is 100 points. And then let's go down to number 4, where we can see 0.0100, and this is 100 pips and 1,000 points. And then write that right. 1,000 points. Okay, and number 5, which is really the next step. Normally people aren't really earning this many pips in one trade or anything like that, but if you are, congratulations, good for you, you're a holder. We got 0.1000. So I'm always covering the last, after the decimal point, I'm always covering the next 4 digits, because most brokers cover these 4 digits. These are the main important 4 digits. The other one, the micro pip, is less important. Not everyone's going to include them. If you go to the bank per se, they might only have 2 digits after that. So they only have, let's say, bank 0.00. Okay, so they're going to round it off to the next 2 digits. Here, like TradingView, MT4, and MT4, they cover the 5 digits, but they're not really important as to major moves to say. So here, let me just go back to number 5. We got 1,000 pips. Sorry, not 1,000 pips. Yeah, this is 100 pips. Oops. And here we have 1,000 pips. Okay. Let's go through, and we understand that this is 10,000 points, okay, on the MT4. So this is a clear written demonstration of this. I'm gonna leave this up, and I'm gonna go through and try to provide a different way of explaining it just by looking at the prices itself. So here we have one where we can basically see it's 50 pips, but I ended up typing in 500. Our target is 100 pips, but I ended up typing 1,000, okay? So we also have another tool here on MT4. I made the video on how to use MT4. If you haven't checked that out, make sure you go ahead and check that out, so you can get a better understanding for all of this and how this works. So we have a tool here which measures our pips for us, but of course we should be able to do this without any tools. It's very important that we're able to depend on less. Less is more, you know, you take less trades and get a better result type thing. Not because you're taking trades all day and all week means that you have to be profitable, because when you're not, that's going to really hurt your feelings as well. Make sure you check out the videos on the 5 psychological fears so you can stay out of those ways. Normally I wouldn't touch on things not related to trading or not related to the way I trade, but the 5 psychological fears are definitely worth noting and how to stay out of their way. Okay, so let's go to let's check out this tool, which is date and price range. Okay, so if we click on this and we go from the bottom of this structure here, just for example, to the top, okay, so it tells me the exact movement. It went up 1.22%, and our pip difference is our pip difference is 0.01421, so 142 pips, 0.1. So if we look at this here, we got 100 pips, and we got 4 of these 10 pips, and then we also got one of the 1 pip and a micro pip. So these are how you look at your calculations. And then one other thing I really want to touch on to make sure this is clear is how I do my math for pips and things like that. So anytime I do my math, and I shared this different places, and this is in the free course as well. We have, let's say, what I normally do is measure what are my units. So the minimum units is 0.01, which is 1 microlot. 0.01 equals 1 microlot. Okay, and I want to put this like this so we can understand micro, can't spell today, micro. So 1 microlot is equal to 1,000 units. We never have to focus on how many units we're trading. We're not trading stocks here, unless you are. But if we're trading Forex, we don't really need to worry about how many units we're doing. Just worry about your investment size. Is it 1 microlot? Is it 2 microlots? Is it 3? Is it 1 lot? Is it a mini lot? Worry about those things. But for math purposes, for calculating my pips, I definitely know how much units I'm investing. So in a case like this where I am trading 1 microlot, what I will do for my math, let's say to calculate pips profit. Okay, so pips to actual money profit. And worth mentioning is that if you use a different account type, if you're using euros account or a pound account or a Canadian account or a US account, these things may vary very slightly. Here I'm working with, let's just type in USD account. Okay, so I'm using, let's say for this example, we're using a USD account, and the math, I would put in 1,000 units. 1,000 units is what I'm investing. And then I go and I multiply that by the amount of pips. So let's do 100 pips. And this just ultimately equals, I've done this math many times, this equals $10. Okay, I believe I can show you on the calculator here. Do 1,000 times 0.01, like that. That's 100 pips. That's what I showed you. That's what showing you 100 pips and equals 10. So that's how I do my math for any pips, anything like that. Let's make it a little more complicated. Let's do 3,000 units and times that by 0. Let's type some random number. So let's say we got 145 pips, 145.3 pips, right? So that's the way it would look. And if we're ever typing it in or anything, we would just have it like this, 0.3. That 0.3 is the micro pips. So let me show you just how to do the math on this, and it's the same exact way. We're gonna go ahead and type 3,000 times 0.014. Sorry, we're missing a digit here, my bad. 143.2. So we know that 2 at the end is the micro pip. Sorry about that little confusion. 43, and then we just add the 2. When we do our math, we get 42.96. So that's what the profit would be, excluding the fees. The fees very minimal. I believe if you're using 1 microlot, the fees probably about 4 cents, which I don't really talk about fees or anything like that as well, because I don't personally focus on those. I try to share the things that I focus on with trading, and I don't worry about my fees. I don't worry about how long am I holding the trade for. I hold my trade until completion, and really that's just it. So I'm going to type this in here, 42.96. And if we paid any fees, fees like entering your trade and then swap. So let's say swap and commission, you pay to enter your trade, and then depending on what broker you're with as well, there can be a whole different lot of type of fees. So really that's what I want to share for this video, guys. I want to share how I calculate my pips. I want to share how to count pips. So that's all I really want to say for this video, guys. I want to share how I calculate my math for the pips, how I calculate my profit, how do I look at pips, the difference between pips and points. I just want to make sure this is clear. A few of you guys have been asking me about this. So thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out.